Picture a structure so impossibly grand that it literally relentlessly snakes its way across towering mountains, plunges deep into valleys, and sweeps over endless deserts and grasslands. It's a masterpiece that took centuries to build, and honestly, it stands today as one of humanity's most jaw-dropping engineering achievements. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're exploring the Great Wall of China, an absolute historical marvel, a profound symbol of grit, and the real story behind these ancient stones.
Okay, let's dive into this. The sheer scale of this thing is almost impossible to wrap your head around. When we trace the combined length of all the known sections, it spans over 21,000 kilometers. That makes it one of the longest man-made structures in human history. To put that crazy number into perspective, 21,000 kilometers is literally more than halfway around the entire Earth. And the craziest part? It doesn't just cut across flat, easy plains. No, it cuts right through some of the most unforgiving, rugged terrain our planet has to offer.
But before we get too far, we've got to clear up a major misconception. When we hear the Great Wall, we all naturally picture one single unbroken line of bricks stretching from point A to point B. But actually, that's not what it is at all. It's really a vast, complex network. Think of it like a massive web of individual walls, heavy fortifications, towering watchtowers, and military outposts. And they weren't built all at once either. They were constructed during totally different periods of Chinese history and only later stitched together to form the unified marvel we recognize today.
Part 1. Origins of the Wall, a united land divided.
To really grasp how this monumental undertaking even started, we have to travel back over 2,300 years. Ancient China wasn't one big, unified empire back then. It was a divided land full of rival kingdoms. But they all shared one terrifying problem: invading nomadic tribes constantly sweeping down from the north. So, out of pure desperation, each independent kingdom built its own separate defensive walls. Then, in 221 BC, Emperor Qin Shi Huang did the unthinkable and united all of China. He commanded that all those separate walls be linked together, while also building completely new sections. That bold move was the true foundation of the Great Wall. Now, fast forward to the 14th and 17th centuries, and the famous Ming dynasty took over the construction. That era is what produced the most iconic, postcard-perfect sections we see today. And finally, in 1987, this absolute triumph of engineering was officially designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Part 2. Geography and Human Toll, building the impossible.
Building this thing was a deadly, nearly impossible challenge. It required hundreds of thousands of soldiers, local laborers, and prisoners who were literally forced to work in unimaginably brutal conditions. We're talking about dragging heavy stones, bricks, and massive timber across steep mountains and incredibly rugged terrain. To survive these geographic nightmares, the builders had to be incredibly adaptable. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how they did it. Up in the jagged mountains where moving materials was nearly impossible, they just used the natural, locally quarried stone. Down on the flat plains, they switched to kiln-fired bricks and carefully carved blocks. And out in the desert, they just used whatever they had, compacting earth, sand, and wood to form the barricades. That pure engineering genius is exactly why the wall has survived centuries of punishing weather. Now, once these towering barricades were up, they became a highly efficient military machine. You see, the wall wasn't just a physical barrier. It functioned like an ancient high-speed communication highway. Thousands of watchtowers were strategically placed all along the structure. If an enemy got close, soldiers in those elevated towers would spot them instantly. During the day, they'd send thick columns of smoke into the sky to alert the next tower down the line. And at night, they'd switch to blazing fire signals. This system was so brilliantly effective that crucial military messages could travel astonishing distances in record time.
But here's the thing. Despite its massive, imposing design, the Great Wall was never a completely impenetrable magic shield. Throughout history, invading armies did actually manage to cross it. Sometimes they found physical weak spots, sometimes they literally just used bribery, or they executed highly strategic attacks. So the wall's true strength didn't just come from millions of tons of heavy stone. Its real power lay in the highly organized, incredibly disciplined military system of soldiers and guards who protected it and communicated along it.
Part 3. Fact versus fiction, debunking the myths.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it tackles the tall tales. When a structure stands for over 2 millennia, it is absolutely going to attract some wild myths. The most famous one, that the Great Wall is the only human-made structure visible from space with the naked eye. I'm sure you've heard that one. Well, astronauts have officially confirmed that it's simply not true.
Yes, it's incredibly long, but it's also relatively narrow. And because it's built from natural materials like stone and compacted earth, its colors blend perfectly right into the surrounding landscape. So without specialized optical equipment, picking the wall out from orbit is actually extremely difficult.
Then, there's a much darker, frankly haunting legend about how it was built. A lot of people believe that the workers who tragically died were actually buried inside the wall itself, essentially becoming part of the physical structure. Now, it is a grim historical reality that countless laborers lost their lives due to those brutal, exhausting conditions we talked about earlier. But modern archaeological studies have found absolutely zero evidence proving that human remains were ever built into the stones. Most experts firmly consider this morbid story to be an enduring historical myth rather than actual documented fact.
Part 4. A timeless human legacy, preserving the wonder.
Today, moving far away from its bloody military past, the wall obviously no longer serves as a desperate defense system against nomadic invaders. Instead, it's transformed into this timeless human legacy, welcoming millions of awestruck visitors from all over the globe every single year. But this enduring legacy requires constant vigilance. I mean, even after standing strong for more than 2,000 years, large sections are facing some very serious modern threats. You've got natural erosion constantly wearing away the ancient mortar, you've got extreme weather patterns accelerating the damage to the stonework, and, somewhat ironically, the sheer volume of human activity and foot traffic takes a massive toll. Because of this, extensive preservation and restoration efforts are continually underway, fighting a daily battle to make sure this incredible monument survives for future generations.
Ultimately, the Great Wall of China is so much more than just a barrier of stone, brick, and earth. It is a timeless symbol of human ambition, resilience, and true innovation. It stands as a towering reminder of exactly what humanity can accomplish with a grand vision, unbreakable determination, and collective effort spanning across generations. It really leaves us with a profound question. If ancient civilizations could achieve something this monumental, something that still inspires the world thousands of years later, what seemingly impossible achievements could we accomplish today if we applied that same collective determination? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember to keep questioning the history around you.